Doug Mastriano was at the insurrection and he was photographed breaching one of the restricted areas. Is that okay?
Which area? Because I saw a video where Capitol officers were taking away barriers and unlocking doors for people. So, I mean,
they opened the gates.
So it shouldn't be disqualifying for an elected official if they participated in January 6th?
He didn't strike anybody. He didn't hurt anybody.
And the only one that died was a protester there, not a Capitol police officer.
An unarmed female veteran was shot.
That's the only one that died.
That's the only one who died.
A police officer did die.
No. It was a stroke.
That's not
on site.
Caused by that. That's because he shouldn't have been a police officer.
You hear that last part? He shouldn't have been a police officer because he was having issues with being attacked by a mob of angry people that said they want to kill him, and in fact tried to. That's MSNBC's Elise Jordan. She was talking to Pittsburgh Trump voters about, of course, January 6th. Some of them were actually there, but they talked about Antifa and BLM showing up. We know the talking points because they've been fed them. Because the minions of MAGA supporters do these things. There was more though, because one of them said that they were actually there. And they talked about BLM and Antifa. I wonder which part of the group this particular person was in. It doesn't matter. Here's some nonsensical answers.
So what do you make though overall of January 6th? I mean, watching that footage, it was pretty disturbing. I mean, there were people throwing excrement at the walls and it was it's the Capitol.
It looked a lot like Antifa's actions.
It looked a lot, except on a much smaller scale. It looked the same as the Black Lives Matter riots.
That's what I saw the similarities to be.
Minneapolis burns, Kenosha burns.
But so it's okay just because one side that you disagree with?
I'm saying Antifa infiltrated.
It's good for one, it's good for the other.
Anybody who harmed anybody who caused property destruction, that needs to be dealt with. But if you're there making your voice heard at the people's house, no less, that's again, it's a fundamental constitutional right of an American citizen. And people should not be being held political prisoner because of it.
For misdemeanors. That's East Germany.
That's East Germany.
Tactics.
Yeah, that's what's scary.
It was an actual fiery but mostly peaceful protest.
Fiery but mostly peaceful. Imagine if you could say that about, again, they bring up the summer riots of 2020. Was it fiery and mostly peaceful? But that's not what they would characterize it to be. But since they were there and since folks that looked like them were there, it was peaceful. Oh no, in fact, the violence was actually carried out by Antifa and BLM. It's the same talking point over and over and over again. We're gonna get to how they feel the violence should have been quelled in a second, Sharon, but I feel like there's plenty there already. And I feel like you're ready to go.
How do you respond to complaints within the Jewish community regarding comments that you made about your rival's Jewish school and previous associations you had with Gab, the social network?
Yeah, so.
Well, I would like to make a comment on that real quick.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say, as a family, we so much love Israel. In fact, I'm going to say we probably love Israel more than a lot of Jews do. I have to say that.
I'm going to interrupt you there, Rebbe. I think maybe the best way to answer a question asking about your anti-Semitism, your connection to a very rabid anti-Semitic social media entity, is not to say that you love the Jews more than Jewish folks love the Jews. Maybe don't start there. But anyway, that's the wife of Doug Mastriano, who's running for governor out there in Pennsylvania. But also, she's just getting started. Maybe she has more of this answer that doesn't sound as white supremacy. We'll try. Let's let her keep talking.
The reason why I say that is because I've given, and Doug, we've given for, I would say, at least 10 years to outreach to Israel and Jerusalem. I have visited Israel, we say for 5 years. We're just an average family, we're not wealthy people. We say for 5 years to make a trip because it was that important for us to educate our son on loving other cultures and understanding different backgrounds.
Weird how that works. Didn't get much better since she said, we spent our money, we saved it up and went to Israel and we hung out in Israel. Can you believe it? It's amazing. Therefore, it's impossible. Weird. I hung out in Beverly Hills before. I don't suddenly have a Beverly Hills house, no money like that. I'm just trying to figure out how this whole thing works. As long as you go there, then you're just relieved of all of things like this. This is what they're asking about. Mastriano has come under fire in the past month for comments he made concerning the Jewish day school that Shapiro, his opponent in this race, went to and sent his children to, saying that Shapiro grew up in a privileged neighborhood, attended one of the most privileged schools in the nation as a young man, not college. As a kid, sending his 4 kids to the same privileged, exclusive, elite school, $30,000 to $40,000 per pupil. So we talk about him having disdain for people like us. That's his reason for bringing up that school, and it's also words that got a few feathers ruffled around those circles, saying it's a private school, sure, but you're focusing on the fact that it was a Jewish school, so people are concerned with. So finally, Doug did get to the mic. Rebbe had all of her things to say, but Doug is gonna set the record straight. Doug answered the question next.
The allegations from the left, white supremacist, anti-Semitic, homophobe. One of the Democrats put together a list, and the allegations of these 8 different phobes. Some phobes I didn't even know exist. I'm like, are you serious? So I tend not to, it says in Proverbs from your holy book here, if King Solomon said, "Answer not a fool in his folly." And so I tend not to answer, stupid questions. But since you are from Israel, I'm not calling you a fool. My opponent, though, is trying to hide behind something that doesn't exist. So Josh Shapiro calls me anti-Semitic for simply pointing out that he can afford school choice. That's right. And that's not anti-Semitic. And so he's hiding behind a false allegation of a retired Army colonel vetted by the United States Army for 6 promotions. Only 3% of my class, made it to colonel.